welcome back. This is an impromptu chat. I was just riffing on my stories and I was like getting deep into it, and I was like, you know what? This is a time to just jump on live, because I think what I'm going to share, I think, is so much better in a more, long form rather than bite-sized transmission. So buckle up. I have a couple of things to get through. Today, I'm going to be talking about the nature of the work I do and letting go of the destination thinking. So this is letting go of end of the rainbow, pot of gold kind of thinking. So if you are coming here because you're on my stories, hi. If you're just stumbling across this, hello. My name is Liv, and I work with women. And I work with women in a multitude of ways. And I'm going to be speaking about the kind of work I do in this live stream. So if you're curious about the way that I work, this is a great, I think this is going to be good. I think this is going to kind of paint a little picture. Okay, so right now, one of the themes that is really present in my life, and I'm really curious if it is present in your life. I've got the teacher's pencil here to use. I always like to have a little bit of a prop, right? So the theme that is really, really present in my life currently is around remembrance. Remembrance. It is the theme right now. And so when I am speaking about remembrance, I'm speaking about this very important thing, which is remembering who the fuck you are. Okay? And it's so important. It's so important that we remember ourselves. And I really believe that the work that I do, and the work that I do with other people, and the work I do with my coaches, my support team, my guides, is really this journey of remembrance. It is really a journey of remembering all that we have forgotten. Okay, so how this is currently manifesting is Lola and I have started recording season 2 of the Juicy podcast. We recorded last week, and the episode will be coming out in the coming weeks. And this is our first episode. We literally talked for an hour about this topic, remembering who the fuck you are. So that is to come. And so that is a little seed that was planted. But how it's also manifesting is yesterday, I was in a session with a client. So this was a deep dive client, and it's somebody that I'm mentoring over a long period of time, one-to-one. And part of the one-to-one deep dive package is we do these retreats and ceremonies as part of the long-term one-to-one work we do together. And I find that this is such a beautiful way to work, because we have our regular sessions where we're working with like what comes up in your everyday life, but we're also having this time to kind of go deep into ceremony, go deep into the body, go deep into visualizing and connecting to some of the aspects of your journey that are a little bit more unspoken, unseen, intangible, maybe wordless, right? And when I got into session with my client yesterday, she was asking me, what's really up for you right now and your journey? And I said, it's all about remembrance. So we had this amazing conversation, and I want to give a couple of nugs here today, because I think there is definitely at least one woman out there that needs to hear this. Okay, so when I think about why is it important to remember, why is it important to remember ourselves? Just excuse me, I made a chili earlier. I made chili in a slow cooker, which is like a crock pot. And I've got all these different chilies from all these different kind of cultures. And I just went in with the chili, and I can like taste the chili. I can smell it. It's like the chili's on the end of my nose. I feel like it's in my hands, and I've washed my hands many times, but I have this kind of chili feeling. So if you feel me coughing, that's really why. Anyway, so why is it so important to remember ourselves? Okay, so first of all, I want to speak to the kinds of women. And if you're here, say hello. Like, let me know if you're listening live or you're listening later on to this as a replay listener. So the kinds of women that I work with, you know, you are the kind of woman who is a deep diver. You are interested in depth. You are interested in knowing yourself, understanding yourself in a deep way. You are someone that potentially has tons of access to feeling, or you're on your journey to feeling more. Like, you can feel things on multiple levels. You're a sensuous woman. You have an ability to connect to your senses in a multitude of ways. And you are very committed to the resensitizing process, to actually de-thawing. You know, life can harden us. Life can have us, hi Jamie, life can have us freeze up. And actually what is, oh my God, I can, chili again, it's coming for the back of my throat. I'm like, this is not the right time, chili. I'm trying to speak. I can feel it like right at the back. If anyone has any tips of how you neutralize just even chili in the air, please let me know. Okay, so, yeah, you're the type of woman who's, you know, really committed to your journey inwards, your journey into understanding your body, taking care of your body, feelings, your creative path. You're a soul-led kind of woman, right? Like, you are led by something deeper than perhaps what's been offered, perhaps what's been prescribed to you, okay? But you can find yourself a little bit scattered. You're like, how do I channel this energy? How do I live in the real world? How do I like contain myself? I need containment. And you might not even use those words, but I often notice, I'm like, oh, the thing I think you need is more containment and structure in your life. And, you know, sometimes my ladies are like, ooh, structure, God, structure feels really hard, right? But actually, structure is really where freedom exists, okay? So I really believe when we remember ourselves, we're not just kind of out there like kind of flowers in the wind. We actually remember that in order for things to grow, they need certain structures and rhythms around them, right? So I'm thinking, imagine like a crop in a field, right? It needs a field. It needs a harvest structure. It needs nutrients. It needs the right kind of soil. There are certain things that we need to grow and to replenish and to regenerate, okay? So if you're recognizing yourself here, just say, God, this really sounds like maybe it's me. And, you know, I often find my ladies have lots of gifts. And maybe you've been told by the world, or maybe you've told yourself that you're like too much, you're too sensitive. Perhaps you feel like maybe you're not good enough. Perhaps you feel like because you don't operate in a particularly linear way, perhaps you have this kind of self-judgment, this self-doubt. Okay, maybe that resonates with you, maybe it doesn't. But I tend to find that's quite true for my women, okay? And so what I was saying yesterday to my wonderful client was, in remembering ourselves, one of the first things I see that happens for you is that, Jamie says, I keep saying, stop seeing me live. Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's so good. Maybe this is for you, Jamie. This live stream is just for you. Okay, so what I find is so important, and what I see often happening when we start working together, is this pressure you feel to be in competition or to compare yourself to how other people are living. That needs to go, because what it often leads to is destination thinking. So destination thinking is like there's a pot of gold somewhere at the end of the rainbow or the end of the journey that you're sort of striving for. this can be very sneaky. This can be very sneaky. This can be subtle. Like you don't even realize sometimes that you are chasing this sort of ideal. Okay? And when you chase the ideal, it often has you forget yourself. Okay, so what do I mean by that? When we work together, and this is what I say to my clients all of the time, this remembrance is really about remembering your unique essence and your unique roots and who you really are and where you come from and like what's unique about you specifically. Everybody has it. So if you're sat here like, I'm not unique, I'm just like everyone else. No, every single person, hey house, you'll love this house. Every single person has a unique essence. You have unique roots. There is no one else that's you. You are you. You are an individual. And not to say we're not in an ecosystem connected to other people, but often the first thing you need to remember is your unique essence. And I find that when I do my ceremonies and my retreats with my clients, this is where you get to feel that. You get to feel yourself again. You get to maybe go into a wordless place, a place that's like intangible, but you feel it in your body, right? We want you to be able to feel what that is. And it's so important that we have spaces on a semi-regular basis where you feel that, where you feel connected to that essence, right? Because that is where you can remember, I'm me. And I'm on my journey and I'm on my unique path, and that path is unfolding. And I would say to you, as your coach, as your guide, you are unfolding in your perfect time. You aren't behind. You aren't speeding ahead. You're actually unfolding in your perfect time. And so the power of remembering is, rather than constantly seeking newness, it's actually about going back and remembering who the fuck you are, and not seeking to be somebody new all the time, but actually going back and stripping it back to a simple place where you remember who the fuck you are, your roots, where you came from, what is actually always been true about you. And if you've ever seen my, I have this image, my natural opulence image, that is kind of in a lot of my branding and marketing. And it's this very colorful kind of psychedelic image. And in the back, there's this carriage. I call it the opulent carriage. This is, for me, natural opulence is you remembering your natural abundant nature. Like, scarcity that you're carrying around just doesn't really suit you. It's not actually true, but we become so identified with scarcity thinking, so identified with lack and comparison and speed and, oh my God, I'm behind, It's not true. When you slow down and you go back and you connect to your natural essence, you're like, oh, holy shit. I have not had a single client that's not gone, oh my God, fuck, I forgot this. I forgot this about myself. Thank you so much for reminding me that this was true about me. Right? And it usually lives in an embodied place, right? Not in a mental place. I love the mind. I love mindset work. I think it's so important that we work with our beliefs and we work with our thoughts. I do not want to discount the importance of mindset work, because mindset is what literally gets in the way. But it has to be in tandem with the essence, with the body, with you connecting. Okay? So, power of remembrance is your personal essence, where you come from, your roots, so important. And then it's how you relate to the journey. Okay, so again, this is what happens with my clients. I say to you, this freedom that you're seeking does not come when you get to the end of the rainbow and the pot of gold, right? And I want to kind of paint a picture here of a common kind of, I'm gonna share two examples. One is around money, and I don't directly sort of say, woo, I work with money, but I always work with money. Like, it comes up in every single client journey because it's so integral to our foundation and our relationship to ourselves. It's so connected to abundance, like money work and your relationship to your resources, and the way you spend your time and the way you spend your energy is all so connected. So it always comes in, and I hear a lot people being like, I want to be debt free. And what they mean by that is, I literally want to have no debt. And it's a completely understandable desire. I completely understand why you'd want to be debt free. I personally have had a couple of journeys where I've had debt and wanted to have no debt, and I've gone on the journey of getting to a place of no debt, and then I've had debt again, blah, 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 right? I've had loads of debt, no debt. I've had all of these different kind of actual 3D realities of various levels of debt and various levels of no debt, okay? So what I think is actually being said is, I will have a certain kind of freedom when I don't have any debt. What may be true about that is you'll have more money because you'll be probably paying less money off every month. So you'll have access to more money, but that doesn't necessarily change the sort of energetic and embodied imprint of you becoming a debt-free person. What I think is more powerful is, and this is the work I do with you, is the embodiment of the identity you are carrying around. If the entire time you are working towards being debt-free, you are ashamed of the fact that you have debt, and you are beating yourself up for the fact that you have debt, and you are only going to feel good about yourself by the time you're debt-free, chances are you've not really dealt with the true problem, and you're going to be in debt again. That's going to come around again. You're going to have the same experience of it, feeling really ashamed, and you don't feel neutrally about debt. Debt is actually a neutral thing. Debt is just debt. It's just numbers. It's money you owe. Your feelings about it, your shame, your guilt, your resentment, that's something else. Okay? And I know this one very well. I know how hard it is to be neutral about debt when you're like paying half of your monthly income to past expenses, like money you spent in the past or money you owe, right? I get that it's annoying, it's fuck's sake, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to not have this. But actually, the destination thinking of I will be free when I get out of debt is not actually true freedom in the way that I see it, in the way that I teach it. The freedom actually comes when you are on the journey to paying off the debt and you become somebody that feels free about the debt they have. And you are just somebody who's paying off the debt. You are not somebody who is only going to feel free once the debt's gone, right? That's not true freedom, right? Because that is dependent on a specific set of circumstances. That's not true inner freedom. You don't feel neutral about it. And if you don't feel neutral about debt, chances are you're going to get the debt lesson again. It's going to come back, and then you're going to have to go through it, the journey of becoming free with your debt again, right? That's certainly been true for me. That's certainly been true for every woman practically that I have worked on with paying off debt. Okay. Now, I'm not taking away how amazing it feels to reach a milestone of repayments, right? It's important. But what I'm speaking to being more important is becoming who you want to be is more important as an ongoing energetic shift than freedom when you reach a destination. Okay? It's the same thing. A lot of people want to be in a relationship. They want to have a long-term partner. They want to be in a committed relationship. Okay? Freedom from your wounds and your insecurities doesn't come when you get into a relationship, or doesn't come in the dating process, right? Freedom comes when you're in the dating process or you're in a relationship and you feel like you're enjoying the journey. You're not like, I've made it, I have to hold on to this, or I have to get there, and then I'll be this. No, you become the new embodied version of yourself that's more true and free on the way. You embrace the reality of the journey and whatever that reality of the journey is asking of you, right? Does that make sense? Like, two examples, because these are such everyday examples. Pretty much everyone has some sort of non-neutrality about money-related issues, and pretty much every person I know has some sort of feelings about relationships and being in a relationship and not being in a relationship. Money is actually a little bit more charged, I think, than relationships. Maybe not. It depends. I don't know. I feel like they're just, relationships are more openly talked about than money. So it's kind of hard to say. But in my experience of working with people, those are one of the two areas in which you do not feel neutral about being single, or you do not feel neutral about being in debt. You do not feel neutral about a relationship not working out, right? Like, you heavily identify with the failure or the success of something. That is not true freedom, because you're going to have failures and you're going to have successes, and life is going to go up and down. And can you be free inside of the journey? Okay? That to me is remembering who the fuck you are. Right? It's about remembering and growing. Remembering that you are growing in your strength, in your resilience, in your acceptance, in your understanding, in your skills. It's not about you are worthy, deserving, different when you reach a specific. That is like the biggest fucking lie of our generation. What the fuck is that lie? It's such a lie. And as you can see, I feel passionate about debunking this myth. The myth is just so annoying. But I understand it. And it almost feels like it's a bit of a like sort of spiritual game that we're given, you know, these labyrinths to get free from, these labyrinths in the way we think and the way we see. I absolutely love guiding my women. I love my clients. And for me, I've been on this journey of remembering who the fuck I am over this past year as I emerge like a phoenix from the ashes from my sabbatical and from shifting away from like previous associations and really wanting to create something new, not become something new, right? Not like, oh, there was something wrong with me and I needed to change, but I'm creating something new because I've gone back to something that's more authentically myself. And I remembered who the fuck I was, and then I'm creating from that place, right? Does that make sense? Like, are you with me? Like, I'm kind of speaking to like multiple things at once, right? And really, true freedom, they exist in the process. And one thing that I love to do with my clients is help you navigate the process. And that either looks like helping you design your process and so designing a process and like containing your life with a little bit of support and structure, but also helping you navigate the process. Okay. So at the beginning, I was speaking to the kinds of women that I tend to work with. I also find that my women are very ambitious. You tend to be very impressive. Like, you've done a lot of interesting, impressive shit, right? You know, you're unique, very unique, but you're tired, and it's like somebody working for you. You're like, this isn't like, I need to do this differently, right? So I am such a big believer in containment and structure, and the importance of having like your creative energy, your creative brilliance, your ideas, your femininity in containment, offering you the skill and the experience. And that's why these spaces and the containers I hold are so beautiful and so effective, is you need it, right? You need that containment around you so you can be inside of you know, this experience of, yes, okay, Jamie's saying I'm interested in strengthening my inner masculine. It's so important to have a healthy relationship to your inner masculine. It's so important. And I find that it's often the thing in women that needs strengthening. It often shows up either in this like very dominant, hardened masculine that's like suffocating your true feminine essence, and you maybe need to like rest and have more space in your life, but still have containment and structure, so you're not just like flying in the wind. Or you tend to have maybe an underdeveloped masculine that needs more gym time. You need to go to the gym with your masculine skills, right? You need to develop them more. So it tends to be kind of a pendulum, and then sometimes you fit somewhere in the middle where you're like either super dominant and kind of hardened and you need to de-thaw, or you need to strengthen your muscles around your femininity. Okay. So, oh, that feels so good to get out. Oh God, I just feel like needed to get that out and express that. So if you're recognizing yourself in this and you feel like, I'm actually ready to start a conversation about what next steps could look like, I have 2 different ways that I'm working. I've recently, if you saw my recent email, if you're on my mailing list, and I'm going to actually post this on my feed this week as well, I am simplifying the way I'm working. So I'm no longer doing one-off soul retreats. So I was doing these amazing soul retreats, which I love doing, by the way. I loved doing them. I loved working with you, for those of you that took them with me. And so I'm going to still do them, but no longer on their own. So they're no longer available as like a standalone offer. They are available in my longer term containers. So I have 2 offers. One is an 8-week comeback deep dive. And this is where we start with the 3-hour deep dive visioning retreat. And then we go into integration work. So we go into weekly coaching. And this is a really amazing place to start. This is like an amazing first step if you're wanting to, like, either you have one topic that you're like, this is an area of my life that I really want to hone in and focus on, or it's everything and you want us to really shine the light everywhere. I'm really able to design this specifically for your needs. Okay. So the structure exists in a way to hold you through the process. And like what we work with inside of that is really depending on where you're at and what you're needing. Okay. So there's the 8-week deep dive, and then there's also the 6-month deep dive. And so this is a longer term mentorship. They work nicely together. So you can start with the 8 weeks and go into the 6 months. Or if you're like, 6 months is absolutely where I'm at, and I just want to start there because I feel really ready for that kind of level of commitment and support, you can also go straight there if it's the right fit for you. So if you're curious about either of these offers and you want to take a next step, I'm offering as a first step a 1-hour deep dive session with me where we talk about where you're at, what's going on, what are you wanting, where are you struggling, what is really true and present for you. How can I help? How can my work actually help guide you from where you are now to where you want to be? You're ready to make some shifts. You're like, I'm ready to shift my embodiment. I'm ready to work through some of this identity stuff. I'm ready to work with some of this scarcity. I'm ready to strengthen my inner masculine. I'm really ready for that next step. That's what we talk about it. And in that conversation, I can really say, yep, I can absolutely help you. And this is what I recommend. And we can talk next steps. So that one-off deep dive is £111 and it is completely free my calendar is open right now for you to book. Okay. So it's a taster. It's a chance for us to feel, you to feel me to feel you to really get a sense of like what my work would be like what would be possible if we were to work together. And then if it feels true at the end of that session, that taster session, I will then make a proposal for what feels like a great next step for you and what that could look like. Okay. So those are available in my bio right now, £111 for an hour with me. And thank you so much for listening. I have had a great time today. It felt so good to express this. Let go of that destination thinking. It is in the way. It is in the way of today. Destination thinking in the way of today. Okay. I love you. Thank you for being here. Jamie, I love this. I'm coming out of a long period of rest and space and ready to emerge. Beautiful. This is a great time, right? It's a great time for momentum. Okay. If you've been listening along and you feel resonating, book the session. Or if you're just here to just receive these free transmissions, then I'm so glad that you were here. And I really hope that there was something in here for you today that you were like, yes. Dee Dee, hi mama, so excited for our journey. I can't wait to speak to you soon. And yeah, for everyone else, I love you. Have an amazing day.